Hello Graphite Knights, and in this video we're going to be making this picture of the Graphknight sleeping in the ruins of Lentok while these cats scurry across them. We'll get more into that in just a second. To start, I am going to be crafting out where I want my knight. He is the center of the picture, and everything else is going to kind of shape around him. Now, it's kind of a weird perspective. We're a little aerial on him. He's a little tilted, and then he's like scrunched together. So there's a lot of different opportunities for this to start looking wanky, in my opinion, but I think we're going to get it just fine. When I first designed the Graphknight, I was really just drawing a picture. It was the picture of him fighting Balrog, which is on the channel if you want to see. He's the dragon that the Graphknight is searching for in the ruins of Lentok. And, he is gone out to fight him, that kind of thing. We had different designs with him there as I was drawing it out. Like, I started off with him having a sword and a shield. And I was like, nah, he's full offensive. He's got a sword and an axe. And then I was like, well, how's he going to protect against dragon fire? Like, what has he got in his arsenal? Or is he just insane? And we gave him the frost helmet in that first picture, so it glowed blue around the visor he sees through. And so it all just kind of happened while I was drawing it. It was like, oh, okay, let's do that. And I'm amazed because, again, I didn't have a plan going into that. I developed it as I went. That the design, the pattern has stuck with me so well. I will look back on that photo sometimes for reference, but at this point, I know where like all of the armor plating goes for him. He's a tank build, but he's not as heavily tanked out as someone could be. If you look at other knight builds, you might see like even more pieces of metal. Like, this is the point of like, this dude is only walking wherever he goes. I still want my guy to be able to run, to jump, but he is carrying a large heavy load of metal with him as well. The good news is, in the case of the dragon, he's got the frost helmet, which is going to make a big difference when the dragon does what dragons do and try and burn him alive. Our guy is sleeping though now. He's not really worried about that, so he's in a very lax pose. We still have one knee kind of up, and my thinking in that is like, well, he's in a ruins of a mountainside, so it's all stone, and even the hewn places, like the carved out places, are also stone. It's not going to be comfy no matter what you do, and so you just try and do your best with it. Maybe you switch your leg positions a little bit. Like when you're sitting, if you're on a long car trip and you're like, your tush starts to hurt, and you're like, dude, I just have to change the angle at which I'm sitting at the very least. I feel like that's kind of what he's got going on in this pose, where he's like, is that man comfortable? And none of us can say with like good, sincere consciences, yes, but he is at least trying to rest, and he is getting some sleep, whether it's because he's comfortable or because he's exhausted. We'll leave that up to you. We're going to shade in the blackest parts of his armor. This is area where he would have, this is the chainmail area, I guess I would describe it, but he's not wearing classic medieval chainmail. This is a fantasy world. This is a high fantasy world. We're going to introduce a lot of cool elements. Right now, we're only inside the ruins of Lentok. They're ancient, so the whole thing is going to feel fairly classically high fantasy, and a lot of the book will feel that way. I like high fantasy stuff, but we've got other tricks up our sleeves. The world isn't bound to a Dark Ages kind of technology. There's going to be some fun things at play, some magic at play, and his suit here, I guess I would say, is not only fantasy for the frost helmet, but also in its design, the fact that the sleek light black cloth underneath serves as chainmail. That's pretty advanced stuff we got going on there. And then we're going to be shading in the gray areas because, of course, we want the metal to read like metal. I'm probably going to go for a fairly hard contrast here. I want it to read like night. It's dark. Yes, the candles never go out, but he has found a dimmer place in this ruin to sleep, to finally rest his head for a minute. And so he's going to be taking advantage of that. We also do want to show the passage of time here. And so I think this is going to be a fun opportunity. I have 2 cats. Love them dearly. Never thought I would own cats, have them as pets. But I love these guys. They're awesome. They're an introvert's best friend kind of thing. Dogs are well known for being awesome, and it's true. They are. Love dogs. Dogs are the world's best marketer. They can be friends with anybody. And I say that, but you ever gone over to a friend's house and the dog just won't stop barking at you? Cats are like that. I think most cats. If you get like an outdoor cat who's like desperate to be loved, then maybe not. But my two cats, especially Frosty, if someone comes over, he's gone. You're not going to see him. You're not going to know he exists. He has nothing to give you, and he wants nothing in return. But as soon as guests are out the door, which is most of the time, he is attached to the ankle of my wife and I. And I love those guys. And so I just wanted to do something inside this book that was me saying I love you to them. And so it felt right with the passage of time that I'm trying to convey here to have these two little cat adventurers, which I think also opens us up to the idea that, oh, this is a broader fantasy world than just like a medieval one. These two little cats are going to be walking past him. And so time is passing by. He's just sleeping there. It's how we get the single image going. And then we're going to have a banner in the back that's going to say something like 3 days later. Right now, I'm trying to create some depth and some perspective that goes into the dark. And so we're making the stones kind of disappear into the horizon line, almost using a single perspective push back. I mean, I am using that, but to be honest with you, it doesn't line up with our pillar. That's okay. Who says the pillar has to line up with the horizon line, right? It could be a off tilt pillar from our perspective. Totally okay. What we have though is these stones pushing back, and I'm liking that. They're very flat colored, and so we're going to try and do some work there as well. I've brightened this photo here just for a minute because things are so dark. It's going to be hard to see some of those details here for a second, and especially as I start drawing out my cat kids / adventuring cats, I want them to be able to be seen while I'm sketching them out by me, by you, if you want to sketch these guys out too. Cats, in my opinion, like have the weirdest head shapes. I can't really describe them. I know like in Adventure Time, they just kind of do this circle thing, and part of me is like, that's what I'll do. I'll just do the circle thing. But you know where the head's just like a circle. And that's okay. That's good. I just wanted to like give a little more detail to these dudes. So I pressed in on them and was like, all right, we're gonna figure this out. The cats are even more aerial than he is because they're tiny little dudes. And so we're gonna have Cheerio being bipedal. He's just a brilliant cat. He shakes, he catches. When you throw him things, he fetches. I don't know. He talks to you when you talk back. He goes and he stares out the window every morning when you leave, and he's just like a very smart cat that looks you in the eyes and talks to you. And so, he's definitely shown his younger brother, who's just a year younger than him. They're both still babies, 5 and 6. A lot. His younger brother, Frosty, is very sweet and kind, and he's also a little derpy sometimes. Sometimes he runs into walls. He's much more likely to cry if things aren't going his way. If he's like comfy on the bed and you move him over an inch, he'll let out his little high pitched roar. And so, older brother definitely helps younger brother know his way around and get what they need. So they're good for each other, and it seems right that Cheerio would lead them on the expedition. Cheerio is a whole lot more skitty, though, I'll tell you that. Frosty is skitty, I guess, of strangers, but Cheerio is like alert to noises. He's alert to whatever he needs to be alert to at any given moment. He's very aware. And so these guys are going along. I think I'm gonna give them some cloaks because this is a fantasy setting. They are sentient and they're able to communicate using common speech here, and it just seems right that they would use cloaks to kind of hide themselves, camouflage themselves if they're trying to sneak through the ruins of Lentalk, and they're these white and orange kitties. It would be helpful to have some kind of camouflage. And so they've got these cloaks on. One's going to be wearing blue, and the other is going to be wearing green. And then we're going to try and add some shading to them as well so that they fit within our environment a little bit more, so they don't stand out like they've been stickers superimposed on this bad boy. I want Frosty hopping over the leg of the Graphknight. I think that that's a cute idea that feels like him. We're going to put the word hop there, and it'll be easier to read, obviously, on 6x9 paper than it is here in this format, which, again, apologies, or I guess for the first time, apologies that this doesn't really fit on the screen as well as I would like it to. I wanted you guys to be able to see the whole page while we were working on it, and that required me putting format A inside YouTube format, which is format B, and that's where we are. But thanks guys for following along. This has been really sweet. I'm going to give him some text here. Frosty is going to want to play because that's his thing. Cheerio is going to be a little more calculating. Not that Cheerio doesn't like to play, but he's aware of where they're at. And he's like, that'll be that'll be a later time. We will do that in the future. The background, all of this kind of leads from the background or to the background, I would say. So the knight is the focus, but I think our eye is pushed to that back corner, which is a great way to like firmly communicate what we want to say. And here we're going to have a banner. We're going to dye it orange or a little tan color here. And we're going to put 3 days later right on top of that. That way no one can mistake the passage of time for anything other than what I want it to be. This is like a clear transition panel. So I'm pretty happy with that. Going to position it so it's where I like it. Nice. And then we're going to give some Z's to our knight so it's clear that he's sleeping. Guys, thanks so much for making this with me. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.